Hello there, good evening and thank you for joining us on Nationwide. My name is Kene Emma Awodike. Members of the dissolved Adams Oshiomhole-led National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress have accepted wholeheartedly the decision of the National Executive Committee of the party. A statement jointly signed by the immediate past National Secretary and National Vice Chairman South of the APC, Waziri Bulama and Hilad Etta, said as party men and stakeholders, they do not intend to sustain a group agitation against their party. They appreciated the intervention of the leader of the party, President Muhammadu Buhari, and expressed unalloyed loyalty to the party and the caretaker committee led by May Malabuni, and assured the all that they will not contest their authority but instead work selflessly with the team in its peace and consensus building efforts within the party, especially during the party's electioneering efforts in the forthcoming Edo State gubernatorial election on September 19, 2020. Now, when it comes to leadership at all levels, everyone is a leader in his or her own right. However, the second Nigerian Prize for Leadership, MPL, and Partners National Leadership Dialogue Series identified value orientation as what is lacking in the country. Haman Jabani reports that the dialogue took place virtually with over 200 participants, panelists, and members of the MPL governing board.
The Nigerian Prize for Leadership and Partners National Leadership Dialogue is primarily to raise the consciousness on leadership as an important and fundamental matter, not just at the political level, but also at the economic, social, and cultural identity. It also seeks to raise vibrant and credible successive government and generational replacement. The participants say some of the major leadership problems in Nigeria have to do with not giving the elites an educated space, just as those in leadership positions are not training and learning.
There is very strong desire to introduce leadership in the curriculum of education in Nigeria at every level, primary, secondary, tertiary, that leadership should be taken very seriously.
Sometimes with no competence or capacity or experience or knowledge, and they come into governance sphere with high or the highest positions, and they are either clueless or they are overwhelmed by the requirements of leadership.
The stakeholders identified 15 variables that include education, competence, credibility, personal integrity and conduct, naming and shaming as value orientation that must be imbibed by all to achieve leadership success.
Whenever people have to take decisions affecting the interests of other people, it is necessary for someone to show leadership.
There are people who are carrying around all kinds of certificates in this country, including PhDs, who are not educated. So it's really not a matter of certification. The country is full of certificated illiterates. It's a matter of how history shows that you have learned.
Key players commended the MPL for coming up with the dialogue series while charging political parties to change their orientation, just as youth must develop leadership capabilities as well as learn from elders. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
And the remains of late acting national chairman of the All Progressives Congress and the former Oyo State Governor, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, have been laid to rest in Ibadan on Sunday. Ajimobi, who was aged 70, was confirmed dead at a Lagos hospital. He was reportedly buried in strict compliance with the COVID-19 protocols at his Oluyole estate residence in Ibadan, with not more than 20 people in attendance. The full report will come in subsequent bulletins. And now Dotun is standing by in our Lagos Network Center for news around that axis. Hello Dotun, how is Lagos?
Thank you, Kenna. It is a wet and rainy day here in Lagos. The Federal Road Safety Corps Lagos Command says it is leaving nothing to chance to ensure motorists and commuters obey the COVID-19 health protocols to curb community spread. Annie Daniels reports that this was re-emphasized during the unveiling of new COVID-19 awareness and enlightenment kiosk by the Corps in Lagos.
In spite of rising number of COVID-19 cases across the country, many Nigerians have continued to throw caution to the wind with regards to safety. Mindful of the danger this attitude portends and in line with its mandate to save lives, especially on roads, the Federal Road Safety Corps, Lagos Command, in collaboration with a pharmaceutical company, has gone a step further to enlighten residents of Lagos and Ogun states on the dangers of not adhering to safety measures put in place by the World Health Organization to curb COVID-19. In achieving this dream, kiosks like these ones will be stationed at strategic bus stops and motor parks across Lagos and Ogun states,
where we know that people will be traveling within the states. People that are on essential services will also be moving out of the state, that will reach out to them. And we are going to have our men at the desk. They are going to serve as desk marshals who will be monitoring the activities of the use of the kiosk. They are going to be the one even distributing the handbills.
It's a whole lot of campaign that must be sustained, and we know that road safety, in every venture they've gone into, road safety sustains it. You can imagine the seatbelt, what they did with seatbelt. Today, seatbelt is a culture in the society. We know that they're going to get it right, and so that's why we're very much interested in partnering with them.
The Corps also wants motorists, especially commercial transporters, against conveying more than the required number of passengers in their vehicles. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And our schools remain closed due to COVID-19 pandemic. The Lagos State government has enjoined residents who cannot afford data to participate in e-learning to take advantage of its television and radio programs developed for students at this time. Nosa Usula completes the story.
With classrooms shut due to COVID-19 pandemic, students are seeking alternatives to the usual physical classroom teaching and learning methods to continue their education. Many educators and parents have been concerned that the pandemic-induced interruptions would cause drawbacks on the learning gains made particularly in some rural environments in the state, with large percentage of dwellers without access to technologies required to facilitate e-learning.
I advise children that they should just take the radio and listen to what they are teaching them on the radio.
We just have only primary school in Abuja as a whole, so we need secondary school in Abuja. I don't mind if they can assist us to do that.
The Lagos State government explained that it has developed television and radio programs that are being aired throughout the state, reaching students and parents in all local government and local council development areas, urging residents to take advantage of the platforms.
Our schools has remained closed as a result of COVID-19, and as a responsible government, we must ensure that learning continues in spite of that.
Residents were assured that government will provide needed infrastructure to improve quality of education in the state. In Lagos, Nosa Usula, NTA News.
Now, although many businesses have temporarily shut down in accordance with the coronavirus pandemic lockdown, there is an emergence of lucrative opportunities for business owners involved with provision of essential goods and services. Abale Ogbara takes a look at the jobs which are currently in high demand.
Unlike developed countries of the world, the economic effects of the pandemic are more evident in Africa. Among the fallouts is the massive unemployment indices, with more employers cutting down on staff strength. Nigerians in the labor market, the youth especially, are delving into vocational businesses, agriculture and online marketing are on the lead.
For those who are jobless at the moment, let them go into all this trade, like learning how to sew clothes, like furnitures or whatever things.
Most things are online now, so it's not by force. You must meet yourself.
Young people in the essential services category also have their hands busy. For 30-year-old Derek Ose, who works as a nurse in Lagos, sacrificing his life to save others remains his priority and, of course, a source of income.
If peradventure one loses his job, what is the next line of action? Or, okay, now I don't even have a job, and this COVID-19 comes up, mean that I have the hope of getting a job, what will I do? So these are some of the things somebody has to think and all that.
Derek is not alone. as there are many Nigerians out there who are scared of losing their means of livelihood.
Before you now have work, then now see you now have many unemployment again. So the rate of unemployment have increased.
I don't think after COVID-19 I can still be attending to much customers in their house.
Despite the rising economic challenges sponsored by the COVID-19 lockdown, Nigerians are seeking new legitimate ways to earn an income pending when life returns to normal. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NT News.
And away from COVID-19 related reports, let's now talk environment, where the fast-eroding shoreline of Lekki has been a source of concern to environmentalists who have reportedly sounded the warnings of the ecological catastrophe that could occur if the devastation is ignored. Adeola Komiakere reports on remedial works ongoing to preserve the shoreline.
Several heavy trucks with rocks were parked alongside the shoreline, waiting in line to deposit rocks into the ocean. A bulldozer was also employed in the task. Motorists who ply the Lekki Link Road have witnessed scenarios where strong waves from the beach overwhelm the shoreline, pushing away rocks that have been used as breakers for coastline protection, crashing into buildings. The ocean surge threatens vast investments in property worth billions of naira that abound in that part of Lagos and beyond.
Ocean surge is coming, the rains are increasing. So it is possible that we are going to see more and more of beaches being washed off. And it is time for the government to really take a good look at that place.
A private organization is supporting shoreline protection efforts of the government by reinforcing the strength of the wave breaker at the beach. Environmentalists say with the rising sea levels caused by climate change, more interventions like this is pertinent. Many parts of Lagos are usually overwhelmed by large amounts of water during the rainy season, and coastal flooding aggravates the challenge of flash floods, particularly for those in flood-prone areas, including Lekki, Abuja, and its environs. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Nationwide will continue in Abuja after this break.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
Wetin be this coronavirus thing? Na true?
You see this coronavirus wey be COVID-19, na the whole world palava, and e don dey kill many people for China, Italy, UK, US, Spain, and even for other countries dem.
Okay, wetin come be the reason wey dem say make everybody tanda for house?
Na because if e dey waka pium go carry am from person wey don get am, you go carry come give your family dem. Na so the thing take dey kill other people for other countries.
Okay, wetin come be that social distancing sef?
You see social distance. Now make we no come close because this thing na from air and touch now we dey contact am. We suppose dey at least 6 foot away from each other every time.
So okay, no be only to wash your hand and to sanitize them alone.
Make we no take this washing of hand thing take play but make we come together, join hand as we take pursue Ebola, pursue this coronavirus. Make we be each other keepers now.
This na very important message. Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. No forget, your body no tranga like before. You no even tranga like your children or your grandchildren. So therefore, always wear your mask for this pandemic period. No dey too receive visitors, so even if na your grandchildren. Make extra mask wey go fit wash, make like 2 and dash your neighbor 1. And if you dey comot for house, wear your mask always. And if you come back, wash your hand with soap and running water to avoid coronavirus. Make you for live long for your children and your grandchildren. No forget, Operation wear your mask, especially for people who don't old. Protect me, I protect you. Na coalition of societies for the right of older persons in Nigeria, COSROPIN, join body with National Orientation Agency, NOA, bring on this message.
The chances of victims surviving COVID-19. A corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800 22 55 4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
Okay, guys, let's do this. Action.
You can deceive everyone, but you certainly cannot deceive me. I see you.
But if the package is faulty, there'll be no bias.
So I suggest you sit down and have a talk with your husband.
So you have faith. Everything is possible.
You heard him, right?
You needed help and I helped you.
This place with this one, they also work in wolves.
You mean you still work for Matthew Osage?
What?
Thank you for staying with us. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, on June 27, 2020, announced 779 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. This brings the total number of confirmed cases to 24,077. Of the 779 new cases reported from 22 states, Lagos has 285, Rivers 68, FCT and Edo have 68, Enugu 56, Delta 47, Ebonyi 42, Oyo 41, Kaduna 19, Ogun 18, Ondo 16, Imo 12, Sokoto 11, Borno 9, Nasarawa 8, while Abia, Gombe and Kebbi all recorded 5 cases each. Kano recorded 4 cases, Yobe 3, Ekiti 3 and Osun 2 cases. Lagos remains top on the chart of the COVID-19 timetable with 10,026 confirmed cases, followed by FCT with 1,736 and Oyo with 1,305, while Kano follows with 1,195. To date, 8,625 cases have been discharged and 558 deaths have been recorded in 35 states and the Federal Capital Territory. A former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has advocated the need for Nigerians to change their mindset, embrace justice and love one another to effectively combat crime and win the war against coronavirus pandemic in the country. He spoke as a guest lecturer at a virtual lecture in Abuja. Hakeem Jimo has the report.
Insecurity and coronavirus pandemic are the main issues ravaging the world, Nigeria inclusive. The two hydra-headed monsters has claimed lives of many innocent Nigerians, rendering others hopeless and homeless. These critical national issues, former President Olusegun Obasanjo says, require collaboration of public-private sectors to win the war. He identified areas with their need in the post-COVID-19 era in Nigeria to include the following.
We must think out of the box and find ways of creating jobs for those who have lost their jobs. The third is change in the pattern and style of living, including how we travel. The fourth is what I call innovation, science, technology, digitization, and artificial intelligence.
He commended the federal government's efforts at containing the spread of the virus, especially the idea of leaving state governments to deal with the issues at state level. They appealed to relevant stakeholders to heighten awareness campaign on existence of the deadly virus, which has claimed many lives.
Keeping faith and worship are necessary, especially during trying times. This is the belief of fathers of faith in Akwa Ibom State who gathered to pray for the nation battling to checkmate the global health threat of COVID-19 while encouraging Nigerians to be conscious of the pandemic. Udwak Etim tells us more.
The recently released cases of COVID-19 by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control shows the increase in the number of people infected by the virus in Nigeria. The update calls for greater cooperation among Nigerians, including the church. These and other issues prompted the hosting of an exclusive prayer summit by fathers of faith under the auspices of the Spiritual Fathers Forum, Akwa Ibom State, who gathered to pray for God's mercy and intervention on the pandemic that is ravaging the world, as well as other threats.
One thing about God is that He always surprises people. I don't have any doubt in my mind that one day we'll wake up and find out that COVID-19 had gone.
We don't want to see the rising cases of COVID-19, so we are trusting God that God will intervene for all of us in the name of Jesus.
Coming, both to strengthen our private prayers and the prayers in our individual respective churches, God will hear us.
As a state, Akwa Ibom State, as a nation, Nigeria, we are at a point where we cannot help ourselves, and that's where the mercy of God is very crucial.
Why must people indulge in things that you know are evil? You see 8-year-old child being raped. I think churches should preach against it.
The fathers of faith, however, admonish Christians to stand firm in the Lord, but strictly adhere to the COVID-19 precautionary measures to stay safe. In Uyo, Udwak Etam, NTA News.
The micro, small and medium enterprises remains a critical sector of the Nigerian economy, which the government is making efforts to turn around. The advent of COVID-19 pandemic no doubt has put some strain on the process being recorded so far in the sector. As the world celebrates yet another MSME Day, Shikel Laipinaye takes a look at the prospect of small businesses amidst the pandemic.
The International Council on Small Business says formal and informal micro, small and medium enterprises account for more than 90% of all businesses in an economy and 60 to 70% of total jobs and 50% of GDP on the average. So the United Nations consider the sector critical to achieving the Sustainable Development Agenda 2030. The major support needs of micro, small and medium enterprises include access to finance, information and markets. In Nigeria, a lot has been achieved in this regard, with the coming on board of several agencies to bridge the gap.
No matter the volume, no matter the amount of money that a government would have, it is never enough to finance all the MSMEs in that country, because the financing gap is more than ₦1 trillion as we speak. So the only way to get them financed is through the commercial bank. And you have to allow the commercial bank finance MSMEs in a sustainable manner. And that was the idea of setting up DBN.
Then came the biggest challenge of all times, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Great Lockdown, and its impact on small businesses and the economy. But then, as a driver of growth, the micro, small and medium enterprises sector has what it takes to take the country out of the woods.
COVID-19 tragedy, it could be turned into prosperity and a new opportunity for new Nigeria.
Who believe that face masks would compete with makeup on a lady's face? A lot of tailors have started producing face masks.
For the experts, though it is not the best times for businesses, all it takes, however, is to see opportunities beyond the pandemic. In Abuja, Shikiola Ikmenaye, NTA News.
For more on Nationwide, let's join Mina in Enugu Network Studio as she tells us things happening around there. We are experiencing some audio challenges there in Enugu. Let's continue on Nationwide as we now tell you that the Nigerian military says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has destroyed a Boko Haram terrorist logistics base and neutralized scores of their fighters neutralized in Tongule and Boko Haram in Borno State. A statement by Coordinator of Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, indicates that confirmation by credible intelligence of Boko Haram convergence at Tongule led to the successful air interdiction mission by the Air Task Force. Similarly, at Boko Haram, a Boko Haram terrorist logistics hub on the fringes of the Lake Chad, the air strikes, which were carefully timed and executed in multiple ways for maximum effect, resulted in the obliteration of designated portions of the terrorist facilities. Several of their fighters were also killed in the process. The Defense Headquarters and the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, have commended the ATF. We now talk about agriculture. The federal and the Sokoto state governments are taking measures to curb the activities of bandits in the eastern part of the state. But the fear of the unknown by farmers has led to reduction in farming activities in the areas. Muhammad Nasir has the situation report in Sokoto and Zamfara states.
Sokoto is an agrarian state which contributes to the nation's food security. However, farming activities are likely to decline in the areas affected by activities of bandits. This is because some farmers have been killed, some have fled their areas, while some others live in fear of exposing themselves to bandits in the process of farming.
We are facing an insecurity problem at our area. An ji tsoro kwarai bisa ga irin yadda waɗannan muyagun mutane suka zo suna fallasan mutane amma
we are actually scared because of the activities of bandits.
Peace is a strong tool toward achieving self-sufficiency in food production.
We need protection. Peace is everything. If there is no peace, don't dream of any development.
Sokoto State Government on its part said, in addition to the joint effort by security to curb the activities of bandits, it has also provided adequate farm inputs to farmers in all parts of the state.
Farming is our major occupation in Sokoto State. So I believe the government of Sokoto State is ready to make sure that all our farmers are back to farm.
The Zamfara State, which had the slogan "Farming is our pride," had in recent years suffered serious security challenges that negatively affected food production. Though the security situation is now improving, most of the farms located in remote areas are still not cultivated due to fear by farmers of possible attacks.
Already arranged everything possible with the military and the security, some other security agencies to make sure that farming take off.
Addressing security challenges will encourage farmers in the affected areas to go back to the farms. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
Farmers in Kano State are leveraging on the federal government various intervention programs to embrace all year-round farming activities to produce enough food for local consumption. This has placed farmers in Kano on a strategic position as they put sizable percentage of arable land into cultivation. Yahanasu Hassan Barau reports that despite COVID-19, farmers are hopeful of bumper harvest.
Nigeria, with a projected population of more than 200 million, has been among the African countries that depend largely on importation of food for consumption. Years back, the country has spent billions of dollars on importation of agricultural commodities that can be produced in the country. To change the narrative, the present administration came up with policies and programs aimed at assisting farmers to ensure food sufficiency. For instance, Kano farmers harvested tons of rice and maize in 2020 dry season farming alone. The 2020 wet season farming is not an exception, as farmers are provided with quality seeds that will suit this year's prediction.
The pandemic aside, there's been prediction of bad weather this year. So there's been some bad prediction earlier. So coupled with this pandemic, so it means this 2020 is actually 12 years for farmer.
Mustafa Tijani is one of the wet season farmers who has already planted his seeds.
The government has been making call for us to go back to the farm, and we thank God that we now have value for what we produce.
Many farmers share Mustafa's opinion, but however challenged with the problem of late arrival of fertilizer, which they say can depress their efficiency.
The efforts of the federal government through its various interventions in the rice value chain is responsible for the high quality of rice produced by today's farmers. This explains the increase in its acceptance and patronage, as Chika Okorie tells us more.
From traditional method of preservation of food items is now a modification of technological-based research which provides good range of food production at the post-harvest season by the farmers. In the past, substantial amount of food items are being damaged after harvest due to lack of adequate storage facilities. Experts say this current method of storage will put an end to the trend.
We have done a lot of research here to see that we extend the shelf life of our food through processing and also through keeping them in the appropriate temperature.
We are shying away from the use of chemicals because of the associated problems with chemicals. You know, some of them may be carcinogenic or mutagenic in nature. So we are making use of natural preservatives from plants. That is what we are using most of the time.
To the farmers, what are the benefits available with the new innovation?
It's a very good welcome idea for we peasant farmers, which third party normally have all the profit on our produce. But the silo has to be situated where it will be very accessible to our farmers.
Taking a look at this technical idea and the role that agricultural produce play on the economic structure of any country, the basic value in this research will boost food production and adequate supply of food items during the post-harvest period. In Ibadan, Kayodola Doshu, NTA News.
Measures have been put in place by the federal government through technological storage for quality food preservation to avert post-COVID-19 loss of food crops. Kayode Oladesu in this report takes a look at recent development on research and innovation in storage of food items.
The strategy of the federal government in the area of rice production is responsible for the positive impact on the demand and supply curve. In Ebonyi State, the previous target of contributing 10% of the nation's consumption need of 6 million metric tons per annum has shifted to 1 million as a result of increase in demand of locally produced rice.
In terms of processing capacity, apart from the Abakaliki rice mill, the state government have set up 3 gigantic rice processing factories, and these factories are producing about 5 metric tons per hour. Put together, that's about 120 metric tons on daily basis.
The restriction order on rice importation, no doubt, has encouraged local consumption, thereby making the venture more profitable.
If you have mechanized farm, then you may now make some profit. But for now, profit is very, very marginal.
If we're able to have a sound marketing system, whereby even the government and NGOs are ready to buy in bulk from the farmers.
Also, government policies and investment in local rice production in Enugu State have led to increased patronage of the staple food. A visit to markets in the metropolis show that the Ada rice in Oso-Unwani local government area of the state had flooded the markets and beyond. The high patronage is responsible for the substantial increase in agricultural output, as over 60% of rural dwellers in the state have gone into farming. Chika Okore.
That was actually Chika Okore's report on patronage on locally produced rice. The initial one was by Kayode Oladosu, and he was talking about post-COVID-19 and food preservation. Do bear with us. You're watching Nationwide. It's time now to join Caleb in our Jos Network Center for news in that zone. It's over to you, Caleb.
Thank you very much, Kenny. Welcome to Jos. Governor Simon Lalong has restated his administration's support in strengthening the judiciary through the development of information communication technology to facilitate quick dispensation of justice in the state. The governor said this at the valedictory court session in honor of retiring first female president, Customary Court of Appeal, Justice Julia Asabe Kentu. Priscilla Grumnan reports that Justice Kentu has put in 38 years of service.
Governor Simon Lalong said Justice Kentu has over the years demonstrated deep knowledge of the law and shown uncommon courage to administer justice without fear or favor.
I want to therefore use this opportunity to sincerely appreciate Justice Julia Kentu for showing good example and mentoring younger ones in the legal profession and elsewhere. My administration understands the challenges that the judiciary, like other arms of government, is facing. That explains why we are doing our best to see that the new Plateau High Court complex is completed while other courts within the state are also improved.
Chief Justice of Plateau State Yakubu Dakwak and Commissioner for Justice Chrysanthus Amadu said Justice Kentu is a role model who served in the judiciary without any blemish to her career. Chairman of the Nigeria Bar Association Plateau State branch, representative of the Inner Bar, and a family member described Justice Kentu as an amiable, principled, and firm personality.
I make bold to say that I'm the first female president, and the first female judge, and the first female head of court in Plateau State. A trailblazer, I would say, all by the grace of God.
Born on the 27th of June 1955, Justice Julia Asabe Kentu has served in various judicial capacities within and outside the state. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
With security concerns being central and on the increase, the expectations of Nigerians also continue to heighten. In Plateau State, the Joint Security Force bears the challenge of containing the upsurge of crimes and the maintenance of law and order. Rinred Silvanus Lord takes a look at the performance of security architecture in Plateau State so far.
A number of security structures have been put in place to tackle the myriad of insecurity that has continued to plague Plateau State. According to the Commissioner of Police, the interagency cooperation by security agencies on the plateau is responsible for a relatively crime-free state.
This synergy with the security agency transcends the routine law enforcement in the sense that we meet regularly and marshal our plans on what to do. And the Inspector General of Police structure, recently emplaced structure on community policing, has added more to it.
He also spoke on security concerns in Bassa and Birkin-Ladi and the achievements of his command.
We had to go there. I was there personally with the commander of Operation Safe Haven, and we men on ground. We had to rejig their strategy.
Opinion leaders in the state, while noting the efforts of the administration in its 5 years, suggest some ways out.
We had in the month of March, April, down to May, of course, there were structural dialogue that we also put in place to ensure that we achieve sustainable peace within that locality.
This community policing that they have been talking about so much, let it not be in words, but let it be in deed.
In all, Key players are of the opinion that if security is a local concern, localities should be involved in tackling the challenges. In Jos, Rinret Silvanus Lot, NTA News.
Inmates at the Jos Correctional Center have called for the quick decongestion of the facilities across the country as a measure to avert the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. This was when the Plateau State Government Palliatives Distribution Committee delivered food items to the center. Dung Chung reports.
The palliative donated to inmates at the Jos Custodial Center by the Plateau State Government is to help change their living condition amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Chairman of the Palliative Distribution Committee represented emphasized that government is doing its best to reduce the widespread of the virus.
Palliatives to citizens of Plateau State, of which the Correctional Services is part of Plateau State, and it is on this note that we are here to deliver these items to the inmates.
Controller of the Custodial Center Plateau State Command, Abuja Samuel, appreciated the gesture, saying it will be judiciously used.
And because of this COVID-19, visits to inmates have been banned, and this affects what they are getting from. So this is a timely intervention, and I wish once again to thank the representative of the Deputy Governor of the state, the Agon Chairman, for coming.
Leader of the inmate thanked the government for coming to their aid, where he solicited for the congestion to reduce community spread of the virus in Jos. Dung Chun, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. We will rejoin Kene in Abuja, but after this break.
Welcome, dear. Have you washed your hands?
Inside my house again. This thing know the key black man.
I don't know if it's misinformation or poor hygiene that will kill you first. Coronavirus is real, and good hygiene practice will save your life. Anyway, no hand washing, no eating.
I will not take care of it. How's one of the parents?
Coronavirus is real and it's on the rise. But you can help yourself and help others to be safe. Remember, we can stop the spread. It's in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
We have observed the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus. But we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case, or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Shabi, you still come back to this house?
Yeah, so you cannot even support your husband. Eh?
Support who? I thought you said men are the head of the family.
How to get here? Allah, how to get here?
Feminism is all about equal right and opportunity for women.
Settle your matter in your home.
You can't keep comparing Agatha and Uchechi. Agatha is Agatha. Uchechi is Uchechi.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome back. Report just reaching us now says the presidency has reacted to criticism concerning the recent meeting held by the National Executive Committee of the All Progressives Congress, APC, alleging that President Muhammadu Buhari had called a political meeting in the hallowed chamber of the Federal Executive Council. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media Publicity, Garba Shehu, emphatically says the meeting was not convened at the council chamber. It was virtual, not a physical meeting. The idea was to observe social distancing in view of health concerns, and President Buhari chose the council chamber where the digital facilities are located. Yes, it is true that governors and leaders of the National Assembly joined the president from the chamber from where he spoke, but the larger body of the members in attendance was all connected via video calls. Let's now rejoin Mina in Enugu for more reports.
Hello, Kende. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. The Imo State government is strategizing to ensure that drug abuse is eradicated in the state. The effort is in view of its devastating effect, as it has contributed to the increase in criminal activities, especially rape. Kingsley Onaniwu has details.
Over the years, the consumption of hard and illicit drugs has been on the increase, especially among youth, though not without its attendant negative consequences. To check the trend, government at various levels have continued to initiate policies and programs, including punitive measures for those involved in the act. Imo State Task Force on Illicit Drugs was set up a few years ago as part of stringent measures to check the case of drug abuse. Presently, the state government has placed a ban on consumption of any form of illicit drug, making it a criminal offense to do so.
The criminal code law prohibits illicit drugs, consumption and possession of illicit drugs, and that gives the police the right to prosecute those who are found taking in their hand.
The Imo State Commander, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, says his command has made several arrests and confiscated huge kilograms of hard drugs.
We have from January 2020 to May 2020 been able to take away from Imo State a total of 737.658 kilograms of hard drugs.
I will advise the youth of this generation to place disease from drugs.
It is the opinion of the people that the fight against drug abuse can be won if all hands are on deck. In Owerri, Kingsley Onaniwu, NTA News.
Still on drugs, despite the numerous health, financial and social negative effects of drug abuse to its user, the family and society at large, the number of victims continue to skyrocket. In this special report, Chika Ugu explores the cause, effects and efforts by the government to fight the scourge of drug addiction in the country.
According to the World Drug Report, the population of people abusing drugs is increasing by the year, as over 35 million people are currently suffering from mental disorder resulting from the use of drugs. The most vulnerable in the society are youths who are often victims of drug abuse. They engage in the acts due to peer pressure, lack of proper awareness, high expectations, among others.
And one of the reasons is people use drugs because for them it's a coping strategy. When people are undergoing challenges in life, some of them use drugs.
An idle mind is the devil's workshop, right? So, because I think basically because of unemployment in the society, the youths have nothing to occupy them, so they engage in all sorts of vices.
The use of illicit drugs has also led many into crime. It is to this end that the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Enugu State Command, says it is working tirelessly to stem the tide through campaigns and enlightenment.
In Enugu, we have arrested a substantial number of people, and so we have so many cases in court.
While government is striving to eradicate drug abuse, there is a call for all hands to be on deck to fight this scourge, as it affects not just the victim, but the society at large. In Enugu, Chika Ubu, NTA News.
And that does it from here. Kene, it's back to you for the rest of Nationwide.
Thank you, Mina. And just in, the Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama in a tweet says the evacuation flight from Heathrow Airport, London, has departed with 317 passengers, including 9 infants, after several hours of delay due to operational reasons. The combined flight to Abuja and Lagos will first land at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, to disembark 175 passengers before proceeding to Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, with the remaining 142. Rivers United look ahead to continental football as Amanzi Marcus brings us sports news.